Too much of drug abuse matter for Naija today na as a result of ASUU strike. Obaseki na him talk this one. Governor Godwin Obaseki don yarn say drug abuse for Naija don reach crisis level and the way youth dey consume drugs don reach alarming rates. Obaseki talk this one for the Say No to Drugs seminar wey shele for Benin City on Thursday as part of activities to mark the second edition of Betty Obaseki Women's Football Tournament. Governor Godwin Obaseki talk say reports from Security Council meeting and crime analysis show say drug abuse na the second most pressing issue for Edo for matter wey concern crime and criminality. And drug abuse don worse since ASUU go on strike sake of say students don become idle.
I am indeed very, very happy and delighted to welcome all of you, very eminent personalities and guests from across the country, and also members of the diplomatic community who have taken time out of their busy schedules to participate in this very important discourse to advance a campaign against drug abuse. Drug abuse, if we must be honest, has reached a crisis level in our Nigerian society. The extent to which youths consume drugs and other harmful substances has reached an alarming height. In fact, it is almost now becoming a pandemic. A study at the Ahmadu Bello University and Bayero University in Kano, in collaboration with international experts, has shown that there is up to 40% and 20% prevalence of drug abuse among students and youths, respectively. In Edo State, in the course of our monthly review of incidents of crime at our Security Council meetings, because every month we pull out data of crime data across the state and do a very detailed analysis of every incident, we have identified drug abuse as the second most pressing issue of concern in the state as regards crime and criminality, aside from kidnapping, which interestingly is also enhanced by drug abuse. When we see drug abuse increase, we also see an increase in the incidence of kidnapping and armed robbery. This incident of drug abuse has been worsened by the lingering academic staff union of universities strike, as students are idle at home and seeking avenues for self-expression. For us, drug abuse is a matter that strikes home. It is a crisis, not only here, but also globally. This is why we have taken it upon ourselves to make the call for collective action among different stakeholders to forge a common front to tackle the issue of drug abuse. The adverse effects of drug abuse have robbed many youths of their lives, condemning them to a life dependent on drugs. This limits their ability to properly function in our society and deprives the society of a much-needed human capital to drive productivity and economic growth. In sports, drug abuse has remained a cause for concern, with athletes losing individual and group medals and honors as a result of drug-related offenses. It is a global issue that has continued to plague international sporting competitions. While some may argue that some of these issues might not directly apply to us in Nigeria, we are reminded that Nigeria risks losing one of the medals won in the just concluded Commonwealth Games on account of suspicion of use of prohibited drugs. We are therefore taking advantage of the presence of the chairman, the chief executive and CEO of the National Drug Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, His Excellency Brigadier General Buba Mara, who is ably represented, to seek more support for tackling the incidents of drug abuse in Edo State and in the country as a whole. We know you have taken some very bold initiatives, but we want to assure you that in Edo State, we are willing, ready, and prepared to work with you and deploy as much resources as required to tackle this menace of drug abuse. The international community, which is well represented here today, should rest assured that we will continue to push for stricter enforcement of existing laws and make new legislations for further strengthening critical institutions which are required to tackle this menace.
Obaseki when talk say sports na ogbonge tool to engage youth and ogbonge platform to chook body for drug matter, come commend First Lady of Edo State Betty Obaseki and Deputy Governor of Edo State Right Honorable Comrade Philip Shaibu as them take work together to bring together this ogbonge tournament. He can still commend Nigerian Women's Football League as them take chook body to join the fight against drug abuse.
This hydra-headed problem of drug abuse presents itself in various forms with immense impacts on the sports industry and the larger society. Hence, it is very important and imperative for collective action to tackle this menace for the betterment of our society. Sports, as you all know, is a very effective tool for social mobilization and youth engagement, and it presents a veritable platform to wage this all-important war against drug abuse. I therefore commend my dear wife, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, and her collaborator, the Deputy Governor, and other partners for taking advantage of this sporting event to tackle this problem headlong. I want to applaud the Nigerian Women Football League, NWFL, and the sporting community across the country for using this pre-season women's tournament to raise social consciousness on social vices by deploying sports as a tool for social regeneration. I want to end by thanking the organizing committee of the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament for this successful outing and appreciate these distinguished First Ladies. Thank you, ladies, for gracing this occasion.
Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, where people sabi as NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa retired, when Otumba Larry Ikpemishon represent, can deliver paper where be combating drug trafficking and providing care for victims of drug abuse. Talk say this tournament they in line with war against drug abuse when NDLEA launched for June 2021.
In addition to having this seminar, combating drug trafficking and providing care for victims of drug abuse as part of the program. These developments are complementary to the ongoing war against drug abuse launched by His Excellency Mr. President in June 2021. The objective of the war against drug abuse is to create awareness and take this battle back to Nigerians so that together we can solve this problem. You will not believe the amazing resources generated by these great ladies sitting down before you, the governor's wives, within 3 days, that is yielding so much positive results in the battle against drug abuse, which we started 33 years ago. Just 3 days of their involvement changed the picture of things with their beautiful suggestions. The NDLEA, therefore, sincerely appreciate the First Lady of Edo State, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, for her thoughtfulness. First, in establishing the laudable initiative, and secondly, in channeling the little available resources and direction on this critical national challenge. Many have been wondering why our country is presently engaged in a renewed war against illicit drugs. It has been properly encapsulated by the speech of His Excellency, the Governor of Edo State, And when it comes to drugs, nobody talks of parties. You just want the best welfare for your people. Anyhow it comes, and that is why you have heard him. In most other states, you hear that there is downturn. You hear there is all sort of economic jargons. But he said when it comes to drugs, please bring your proposals, we'll work together. That is how to show love for your people. And NDLEA appreciates this. Because, you see, we're here because we still have the mercy of the Almighty God that says that we have about 14.5 million Nigerians who have at one time or the other abused drugs. In Indonesia, it was declared a state of emergency when they had only 3 million for the whole of Indonesia. And you know there are 250 million, we're 200 million. So that shows how serious this matter is. And I'm happy that Edo State is in the forefront of those who consider that this is too serious for a nation that is craving for development. What development can you put on drugs, or the drug-ridden society? What development? Means nothing to them. That's why a father that brought a brand new Range Rover, I don't know how much they sell it, but definitely I know that it's more than 2 wraps of cocaine, would trade off a Range Rover for just 2 pinches of cocaine. So what will all this edifice mean to them? Absolutely nothing. In fact, somebody that does not care about what happens to him the next minute, if he doesn't get the drugs, indeed, he places the drug over and above his life. So he would rather die. And that's why you see sometimes they jump from 15 stories and blast their heads. We have beautiful children, wonderful children coming up, that we don't want these drugs to distort the greatness of this country. When you get home, pick up your sophisticated phone, ask your last born to teach you 1 or 2 things on the phone. You can hardly follow because they are far ahead. And she just assume that you know this, you know this. Tomorrow you call him again, come and teach you what you taught me yesterday. Not because you didn't teach well, but they are so smart, you need to catch up with them and be ahead. So we have not even caught up with them. When you talk in parables at home about drugs, they just look at you and smile. Ask them to tell you. They will tell you more. Please discuss these things freely in your homes so that what you don't know, they can tell you. And also tell them that is one for all for one. As a father, if you are not very careful, you become a stranger in your home without knowing it. When you come in, everything is in order. But behind you, the whole place is in turbulence. Your wife does not want too much trouble for you, trouble in the office, trouble in the home. So everything is meant to look like it is okay. Please stay at home, pay attention to your family. Jeroboam Marwa says that if we approach it from this end, rather than just chasing around the sellers of drugs, we may find out that we win the battle earlier. Because if there are no demands, there may be no selling. In Indonesia, we had a workshop at which they said Nigerians were bringing drugs to Indonesia, and they were worried. And we asked the man at the head of the delegation, why is it that they don't bring pure water here? The pure water, I said, you don't know it. Nobody will buy it. It's because there is a market here. And there's a market here not because your law permits your people to take drugs, but because it's the same human problem, behavioral problem. So when you begin to create fences between parties and states, between countries and countries, we just create avenues for drug to thrive. That's why when you close the gap like this, it helps at both fronts of drug supply reduction, that is the enforcement part, and also the awareness. Our sincere appreciation to the First Lady of Edo State for making drug abuse the fulcrum of the Bessie Obaseki Women Football Tournament. we note with satisfaction the effectiveness of this beautiful initiative in fighting human trafficking in the state. We are also delighted by the recognition from FIFA for this initiative as a social intervention tool. Committing this important intervention mechanism to the fight against drug abuse, therefore, is a momentous development. And I am certain Her Excellency will not rest on her oars. And to every one of us here, we must rid our country of the menace of drug abuse. Achieving this objective is possible if we are all committed to it. Doing this diligently to our benefit, because in the end, we will all succeed in making our society safe and secure.
First Lady of Edo State and Oga Kpatakpata for Betsy Obaseki in Women's Football Tournament, Betsy Obaseki, talks say Edo people, they popular for sports, entertainment, arts and culture. She constantly talks say this tournament, they engage young girls and constantly create ways to help them make money through sports.
For a woman, seeing young girls trafficked has really been a pain for me for many years. And so we are looking as government, and also in my small role as governor's wife, the little one can do to support this work, looking any way we can to provide our young girls and boys in Edo State opportunities, alternatives to being trafficked out. Alternatives to building a career, alternatives to earning dollars, alternatives to make a living, and just carve a path for one's livelihood. And so this football tournament came as one major and promising alternative, because you all know that Edo State has been known for decades in sports, from the time of the late Brigadier General Samuel Ogbomudia. Edo, that's the former Bendel, Edo and Delta combined now, were always tops in anything sports in the country for a long time. And something happened, and that took another turn, and the state just lost its place of pride as a sporting state. So one of the things that this government is set to do is to reenact, to bring back Edo, the glory of the Edo people, all lost glory, from sporting to enterprise, because the people of Edo State are known to be very strong, dynamic entrepreneurs, to, regaining our pride in the, world scene for our artifacts. We are known worldwide to be strong people who we have this culture of, producing works of art, very valuable works of art, especially in bronze. And so all of these things is what the government of Governor Obaseki said to do, to just reenact, the glories of the people of this state, and to bring about a renaissance, just to renew the life of the people of the state. And one of the things that we're seeking to renew is our sporting heritage and prowess. And so it was easy for us to identify this as a medium, as we're trying to support the sporting activities in the state. We're also targeting our young girls, especially coming from me as a woman, targeting our young girls to introduce them into sports, show them that football is one way that you can make money, you can build a career, and can even earn dollars. Because we've had a few of our girls from the Edo Queens team. As we speak, there are two of our girls who are abroad playing matches in foreign clubs. And so we were proving to our girls here in Edo that you don't have to be trafficked to earn dollars. If you take on football, if you have the capacity and the capability, and you take on football as a hobby or a career, if you're good, you can easily get foreign football clubs pick you, as they've done for a few of our girls, and you'll be living abroad and working abroad and making more dollars than you ever would have done being trafficked. So that's the main reason why we have this football tournament going. We are proud to say that the first outing we had last year was so world class, we were told. It was adjudged world class, and we were shocked to have the government of Edo State at the 72nd session of FIFA, the world governing football body. At the Congress in March this year, they awarded Edo State, they gave Edo State an award for their role the government is playing in youth development and especially women empowerment. And our deputy governor went to receive that award on our behalf and came back and said that, in fact, he didn't know why the award was given until he got there and found that it was the tournament, the Better Obaseki Women's Tournament, that brought it about. So we're proud that, you know, we've done well in our first outing, and we believe that with God's help, we'll do better and better each year. We believe that this year will be much better than last year. I want to thank every one of you for coming. What we set out to do is not just to play football, but also every year there'll be a theme that will go with the tournament. We're trying to also push social messages, you know. Last year it was, the theme that went with it was educate the girl child, and we also then included gender-based violence issues, because as governor's wives, that was a project that we had last year. This year, we incidentally chose the theme, Say No to Drugs, because we have found that it is becoming a pandemic in our societies, even in Edo State. And so we always would want a social message, seeking social change, social renewal. The football tournament must come with some social good. And so we consider the seminar on drug abuse today as important as the march itself and the COP itself. That's the reason why we've gathered all of us here, especially school children, so we can talk to them about the prevalence of drug abuse and how to save their lives and make sure that they are not victims. So I welcome all of you here again, and thank you so much for coming and for your attention. God bless you all.
Chairman for Nigerian Governor's Wife Forum and First Lady of Ekiti State, Erelu BC Fayemi, constitute for the drug abuse matter.
On behalf of the Nigerian Governor's Wives Forum, I would like to tell you all, dear people of Edo State, that we are extremely proud of our dear sister and colleague, Her Excellency Betsy Obaseki. She is an amazing leader. She's such an inspiration. And when she speaks, people listen. They listen because she's a woman of integrity, a woman of wisdom, and a woman of profound ideas. Thank you very much for all you have done for the good people of Edo and for enriching our group at the Governor's Wives Forum. Thank you, Your Excellency, Governor Obaseki, for providing an enabling environment for our sister to thrive, and by extension, for women's rights issues to thrive and receive due attention in Edo State. At the Governor's Wives Forum, there are a number of issues that are of concern to us, because as individual governor's wives, we try to deal with so many issues. I remember speaking with Excellency Betsy Obaseki a couple of years ago, where I was standing next to her. Was at the Commission on the Status of Women in New York. And some fellow came down and was asking her, Your Excellency, what is your pet project? And she gave the guy a look. And she said, with all the issues we have to deal with in our states, which ones do you want us to pet? We have sexual and gender-based violence to deal with. We had human trafficking to deal with, drug abuse, trying to get the girl child educated, trying to get women access to decision-making, trying to ensure that women receive qualitative and quantitative health care. Tell me, which one of these issues do we pet as governor's wives? So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as governor's wives, there are a lot of issues that are on our mind. But we know we can't do everything. We can't be everything to everyone. But there are a number of issues that we have come together to address as a group, as flagship programs of our forum. And one of those issues is sexual and gender-based violence, and the other is drug abuse. We have found a very clear link between the two. They fuel one another. And so we are very pleased to be here today at a seminar on drug abuse organized as part of a football tournament for young women. Sport for young women, of course, builds their self-esteem, provides them with leadership skills, enables them have discipline and focus. And so if they have that space and opportunity, it's a space where we can also use to drive certain messages, such as stopping drug abuse. My children at the back, are you listening to what we are saying? There is nothing cool about drug abuse. There is nothing trendy about drug use. There is nothing hip about being hooked on one drug or the other. At the end of the day, it all amounts to misery, lack of focus, and lack of a future. And I'm sure you don't want that for yourself. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, as parents, let's continue to do what we can to stop drug use. No matter how important we are, no matter how wealthy or powerful we are, if we have to deal with children who have one drug problem or the other, it's as if our entire fortunes are going to become ashes. By the special grace of God, that shall not be our fortune. That shall not be our portion. Once again, congratulations, Your Excellency. God bless.
People went under for this seminar. Now, Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, Deputy Governor of Edo State, Right Honorable Comrade Philip Shaibu, Speaker of Edo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Marcus Onobu, First Lady of Edo State, Betsy Obaseki, wife of Edo State Deputy Governor Miriam Shaibu, commissioners, market women, students, and other Ogbonge people for inside Edo. Omo Aluke Ajakaye, TMC TV News. Don't forget your PVC na be your power. Don't sell and give any politician on election day.